Darren chose like the most massive waterfall in this area to collect water.
It's like totally clear.
So cool. These people don't want us here. They keep shooing us. They don't want us to be in this Anchorage.
Sailing over 30 nautical miles through the beautiful Aappilattoq fjord, we were now situated at the very base of what would be our favorite Anchorage in Greenland. Surrounded by waterfalls, giant mountain peaks, the occasional piece of ice, and glacial-formed hills dotted the end of this fjord, the only occupants were us and sometimes a few local fishermen. We felt like the adventure was truly alive here, and we were ready to embrace it.
All right, we have launched Rocco, and we're out for two missions. One is we're going to get some videography of Panda boat, kind of outside the boat.
We spent our days here completely in awe. This place looks like it's straight out of a video game or something out of a fantasy novel like Lord of the Rings. It is amazing to look around and be standing in the place that once inhabited a glacier. What would have been part of Greenland's massive ice sheet, which covers nearly 80% of the island, it is the second largest body of ice in the world after the Antarctic, the only two ice sheets left. Evidence of this once frozen river are all around. Steep, jagged mountainsides scored by glacial movement drop into this trough-like valley with river runoff carving its way to the water's edge, along with huge rocks, boulders, and mounds that randomly dot the landscape. When glaciers retreat, they often deposit large mounds of till, made from the rock and soil that was ground up beneath the glacier as it moved. We are fortunate enough to experience such a beautiful place and make it into our own backyard for a while, but feel it's bittersweet to know that more of these valleys will exist due to climate change.
And then the second mission is we're gonna collect some ice for our fridge that's still broken. So there's just a little bit of ice that we see down here on the beach, like pretty much the only ice here in this fjord, so we're gonna go smash it and capture it. Look at that sun just peeking over. Made it to our little bit of berg that's here, bergy bit, and this thing is it's more clear than any other ice we've seen. I don't know if that means it's older or what, but that is beautiful. Look at that. That is glorious.
Holy!
Yeah.
This was a first encounter with such hard and clear diamond-like ice. Our small dive knife actually bent, and we had to resort to our blunt dinghy anchor, and even that was a challenge. However, this was the only ice around, and the occupants of our fridge would probably suffer here if we didn't succeed.
Look at that stuff. It's like totally clear.
So cool.
That we need to put on some whiskey.
Yeah, that's like the perfect ice cube. It looks gorgeous.
Glacier ice, just completely.
It's like glass.
Yeah, it is like glass, completely clear. There's no air bubbles. This is probably some pretty old stuff. There's nothing in it. Huh. All right.
Well, after our nice lazy day and yesterday while it was raining, we are now on a mission to go get some water from a fresh stream. And we collected some rainwater and just dumped it in our tank as well. So yeah, the water's like super muddy and murky from all the rain and the turnip. So now the water's kind of brown instead of that glacier blue it was earlier. That's kind of weird. And Darren's ready.
I'm ready for adventure.
All right, let's go. Darren chose like the most massive waterfall in this area to collect water. I love it.
It's like drinking from a fire hose. Got it. Water mission complete. At least mission 1. We'll see how far this fills up our tank.
Spending about a week in this idyllic spot, roaming around the landscape, foraging for ice and water, our cup was filled. Knowing that the season to cruise Greenland is short, it was time to move on.
Well, we're just leaving one of our favorite anchorages, Aappilattoq. I'm probably pronouncing it wrong again. We're struggling with all the names here, but it was a really gorgeous place for anchoring, and the anchor came up like super clean. There she is. Seems like there's mostly mud here, just a little bit of grass, so it wasn't too terrible to clean the anchor this time. And she came up pretty easily, so that was a really good anchorage. But we're going on to see a town about some internet before we start heading out to to Scotland. We want to make sure we contact our weather router, WRI, and see what's what with a good departure window, and do some socials, and just get some internet and talk to people. It's been pretty quiet out here, not really many people around, no one really around besides a couple fishermen, and we want to be able to talk to our family and friends before we leave. So we tried an Anchorage that I guess wasn't an Anchorage. We're not sure. The guys on the shore in town were kind of telling us not to anchor there and shooing us away. We don't know if that meant just don't anchor there or they just don't want us here. So we're gonna try going in the harbor, which is what the guidebook actually did say. I don't think we're actually allowed to anchor where we're trying to anchor. So we're gonna go in the harbor and try to anchor there. Hopefully you don't get shooed away. Let's see how this goes.
So cool.
So this is the first time I feel like anxious and nervous, like these people don't want us here. They keep shooing us. They don't want us to be in this Anchorage. I think they're scared of COVID, like they have such a small population. It makes sense, but we're just not sure what to do. We just want to anchor here and get internet and have a safe Anchorage, but we don't know where to go and they don't want us here. Well, Darren's trying to talk to them right now. Not sure. I'm managing the boat, trying to manage the boat. While he tries to talk to them, maybe it's confusing. They seem stressed. And I don't like operating the boat in tight quarters. It's just not my favorite thing. Heart is pounding. Well, Darren just gave me the okay symbol and they all seem to have gone back into town. So I think we're okay.
Yeah, all is good.
Okay.
They're just concerned that we just arrived here.
Oh, okay.
And with COVID. But once I told them that we come from the Aappilattoq, and we've been here for 3 weeks, they go, oh, no problem.
Okay.
So they said, come short, you're fine.
Thanks.
They said we can anchor right here.
Oh, perfect.
Yep. I said we're just gonna be here for like a day or two.
Okay.
They said we're leaving, we're on our way to Scotland. They said, yeah, no problem.
Okay.
So we've dropped anchor in this little town called
What is it, Anna's?
Aappilattoq?
Aappilattoq.
Yes, that. And one of the guys said, welcome to that
Oh.
word. I was like,
really
oh,
sweet.
I don't know. So yeah, that was a reminder that COVID exists in the world and that these really remote villages, they obviously have like zero tolerance for being able to handle any COVID issues. So in this particular town, I think sees a lot of not a lot, but like sees transient boats coming from Europe and North America, because it's it's like the only town in Prince Christiansen. So so I think, but I assume we were maybe one of the first or very few like cruising boats that have come by this year.
The way they acted made me think that they haven't actually had any boats.
Yeah.
My first inclination is like that they don't want us here. We should probably not be here. Let's leave. And Darren's like, we just need to talk to them, which makes sense. But I wish they would have, like normal places, they just call you on the radio and say, hey, where have you come from? Like, what are your intentions? And that you kind of figure it out from there. You don't need to go up to people.
Yeah.
And there's a barrier with English being our language, and very few here speak that. So.
Yeah, there was like 5 or 6 guys, and then when I said English, it was just like one guy who was on a cell phone. I think he was trying to talk maybe to an authority to like understand what
I was wondering.
What to do or how to respond. But once he was off the phone and we communicated, and everything was clear. So very, like I said, it's a reminder that COVID exists in the world.
I think we tend to forget because you're like so remote.
We'll be here just for a couple days while this is the last place we have internet, so we just need to sort out our things before we head across the Atlantic and go to Scotland. So we need to get weather reports and email family and friends, that sort of thing, the things that are easier to do. We can do a lot of that through the satellite, but it's tough connection. So so this will be good, and last chance to walk around a little village in Greenland.
Despite the miscommunication on our arrival, the people of Aappilattoq are quite friendly. One of the guys, I think his name was Simon, even came over to chat with us, and Darren, our favorite mechanical engineer, tried helping him with his faulty outboard, which had been misfiring. The bright red and blue-yellow houses of Aappilattoq stand in stark contrast to the vast rocky gray shoreline they inhabit, precariously it seems in some spots, as the mountain there below rises nearly 1,500 meters. Steep mountainsides dominate the landscape nearby, some summits reaching 2,000 meters. This small village of colorful Nordic-style houses is home to only around 100 people, and their main occupations and sources of income are hunting and fishing, with the occasional tourism from the summer cruise ships passing through Prince Christiansand. The main transportation routes are via sea or air. The village is inaccessible by land due to the surrounding mountain region and its remote location. Just walking around the outskirts of the village, you begin to realize how remote this place is. It feels like you can't even walk farther than a mile without coming to a dead end. From summer to autumn, it is only possible to get to and from the village by boat, so at other times helicopters are the only means for transportation. Being so remote, the villagers have to be pretty self-sufficient, and like most villages in Greenland, their water is sourced from the mountain, a waterfall that was located right in the harbor next to where we were anchored. Water collection points right from the waterfall or from the pipe plumbed into the village.
So we went ashore today in Aappilattoq. It was our first time going ashore. We're trying to be respectful of the people here and not going into the village and really interacting with them. They seemed quite hesitant on interacting with us, even though we've sorted that out. We just don't want to ruffle any feathers and cause a problem. We want to be mindful of their wishes They seem very friendly and they wave at us. We've had a visitor on board, but we just want to keep our distance. So we're just out here droning and doing some photography. This place is quite picturesque. And just appreciating the day. It's really nice.
With the summer months coming to an end, we think about the dead of dark, freezing winter, the isolation and toughness this population must possess for this lifestyle. These people are quite extraordinary. I don't think I would even be able to endure it. As one of the very few cruising boats in Greenland this season, we hadn't seen any others, and we were surprised that it wasn't long before we had company in the harbor. Not only was the supply boat making its way to its last stop, but actual cruisers. We weren't as alone as we thought we were. We met two Swedish couples, Paul and Lena from Svea making their way back to Norway from the Caribbean, and Lisa, Oscar, and their cute puppy Bertil from Hilma finishing up their circumnavigation of the world. We spent the evening over some drinks and exchanging stories of our adventures, and I can't begin to express how great it felt to hang out with some new friends before leaving.
Well, we got another good anchoring today.
Look at all this. It is pretty caked on there.
Anchor up and we are good to go. Now we're finally heading to Prince Christiansen. Prince Christiansen. Our first anchorage there, and we're so excited to see a glacier for the first time. So let's get going.
Next stop, the most majestic fjord in Greenland, Prince Christiansen.
Fresh water just pouring down constantly, just pounding down. Shut up. I can't be taken seriously.
Real internet. It's the chain.
Are you sure? Then it's on to Prince Christiansen. Then we start heading to Prince Christiansen. Now we're finally heading to Prince Christiansen. Prince Christiansen.